Hello and welcome to this video on how to use the 247 time system. Here we're going to show you a full training exercise on how to use 247 time in respect of industrial and private clients. So what we're going to show you here is how to log in, how to change your password, how to add a candidate into the system and then find a job and assign that candidate to a job role. We'll look at timesheet information, what's available to you, how to find out your weekly trading at the end, look at some common issues and cures that we have in terms of uses. It starts off, as you can see there, with a virtual circle that a client requires a worker, and you may tout a worker to a client, or equally the client may come to you direct looking for a worker with a particular skill. You'll then add the candidate into 247 time if you haven't done already, and then assign that candidate to that relevant job role. From there, the candidate works at the client, and it's that following week where the timesheet activity takes place and that approval, and as a result of doing that, it then generates a data file which then goes through to the client for payments direct to you, the agency, and we start again with a new process week. Information governance plays a big part in what we do at 247 time, and just a couple of points here to note. First and foremost is that usernames and passwords must not be shared, and we do suspend users where there is evidence that that is happening. Where required, you are authorised and you should have already obtained permission from your candidates to upload their information into their candidate profile. And if you download information from 247 time, and we'll show you that in this video later, that information must be kept secure. And we've all heard stories of where CDs and memory sticks are being left on buses and trains, and it's really important that that doesn't happen, as we all are aware of the consequences of that information getting out in public domain. So it's really important that you keep that information secure. Obviously, we comply with the Information Commissioner's Office Data Protection Act, and we police that the agency bank do as well. And a file of reassurance from us that we do not sell or trade your information with anybody. 247 time is a means of getting information between you and your candidate to the client and vice versa. So let's show you then how to log in. First of all, you log in at time2.247time.co.uk, and you can log in on any device that's connected to the internet. The only caveat is we would say that your browser of choice, please make sure you do keep up to date with them, as older versions of any browser can cause compatibility issues with the system, as we keep up to date with the system. If you do need to get hold of us, we have a support team at 247 time, but what we ask you to do is to email us first, and email support@247time.co.uk with your query. And the reason for that is that we operate a ticket-based system. So when you send an inquiry in, you'll get a ticket back with a ticket number, and that ticket number you can use if you ever need to call us. And the phone number there is 0333 1014 247, and it's a local rate number. So logging into the system, it's a question of then just having a username and a password. And if you haven't got a username and password, if you email support, we can get those set up for you. Anything you see in blue is where you click to enter information or click to retrieve it. So forgotten usernames and forgotten passwords do exactly as they say in the tin. So click on login, and login then brings you through to the dashboard. Now the dashboard is our means of conveying information that we think is important that you should see. We may send it directly to you by email, but for belt and braces purposes, what we'll do is place it here as well. So basically any of the messages here you can then click on and read. The top navigation bar here in black is where you're going to look for and retrieve and add information as part of the system process, and we'll look at those as we go through. But when you first log into the system, you'll be asked to accept our terms and conditions and then go in and change your password. The way to change your password anytime is to click on settings, and you come up then with the settings screen, input the password that we've given you, and then the password that you want to use a couple of times, and click on modify, and that then becomes your password from there on in. So let's go in now and have a look at candidates, and the way you do that is click on candidate. I've taken the liberty here of snapping two screens in one. Typically what you'll see is when you click on candidates is just screen A, which is just a box and a search box. So basically if you wanted to find your candidate, you could type in Fred Blogs, click on search, and that would come Fred Blogs, or equally you could just type in Fred and up will come all your Freds, or click blogs and up will come all your blogs. If you leave it blank and then click on search, what you'll see is screen B here, as you can see, and all of your candidates then will appear, normally in alphabetical order, but you can sort this order by just pressing on the columns here, and it will sort that column into any order you wish. Very similar to how you see on an Excel spreadsheet. If you want to go in and amend a candidate, you just click on the candidate, the blue here, and up comes their profile, and you can change any information that you want. Down the bottom right, two buttons. Here's that export to Excel, and this is where you can then download information from 247 Time to your device, and what that will download is a CSV file, and this CSV file you can use in any third-party application or manipulate as you wish, and it is dynamic, so it will change depending on what you're looking at. So here it will download all of your candidate information into one file. I've got to register a candidate, so basically what we're going to do here now is just click on this register candidate button. So very, very simple, very easy to operate here, in common with most HR systems. It's basically the NI number, you'll see your agency name, and then you just complete the details for the candidate. If a client requires some documentation, then you'll see below that some document uploading boxes where you can upload those particular documents. But basically you complete the profile and then click on save, and that candidate profile you only ever need to complete once, or go in and change if they change, for example, their phone number or the address, but basically it's a once only operation. So let's go in now and have a look at jobs. So click on jobs. Now, two boxes you'll find here. The first box is basically the job role in itself, and that will vary obviously depending on the customer. And the second box, branch, is the location of where your candidate is going to be working. So for example, if you just type in cleaner and don't put a branch in and click on search, it will bring up every cleaner job within the system, and there are thousands of them. So it's important to try and narrow down your particular search. Equally, if in branch you just type in TK Maxx Newcastle, for example, and click on search, it will bring you up all the jobs that are available in TK Maxx Newcastle. But combining the both narrows down that search option for you. So when you've entered that information in, click on search. So let's show you how you do that in the real system. So what I've done here is I've clicked on jobs and I've typed in cleaner and TK Maxx Ashford, and it's brought up this job description as you can see here, and it shows a cleaner, the client and the location, and we can see then yes, that's where I'm going to assign my customer to. So you click on the blue, the cleaner role. From there you can bring up details on the particular job role. So these are examples, by the way, you can see here. So you can click on details, which will show you confirmation of where the job is and the location. Click on rates, and some clients will allow you to see the rates, some don't, but here we just populated some example rates. You can click on terminated candidates, will show you which of your candidates have already done this role previously at that particular site. Sometimes that's quite good for reference purposes as well. But what we want to do is we're going to assign a new candidate. So basically what you do is you click on assign candidate, and we can see here then it will show a list of how many candidates you've already got working at that particular location already. And in this case we don't have any, so I'm going to go on and assign a new candidate. And it brings up a list of your candidates and your candidates only. You don't see anybody else's. So you can click on Fred Blogs, click on search, or you can scroll through your list of your candidates till you find the candidate required. When you find them, you just click select. So the very final screen you'll see is just confirmation. So it'll show your agency name. Then you choose the branch that you're supplying from. You may be a one branch operation, or you may be part of a multiple chain, but you select the branch that you're at. It shows a cleaner. It'll show your candidate's NI number, the name of the candidate. Now, AWR, if you've had somebody already working on site for a couple of weeks and have only got round to now assigning them to this particular job role, then to keep AWR report consistency, you put the number of weeks that they've already been working on site. The start and end dates basically are important because the start date, you can only have somebody starting in a job role in the current week that you're actually in. Our working week is Monday through to Sunday. So the first date you can have somebody starting in a job role is the current Monday of the week that you're actually in. You can have them starting on the Thursday in the week, the Friday, next week, next month, but you can't have them starting any earlier than the Monday, and that's simply because we've already consolidated previous week's data. Now, I'll show you how we deal with that in a moment, where you've had somebody already working on site and you need to catch up with payments. The end date is not so crucial, but just a tip here that we find: if the client says to you, well, we need your candidate this week and we possibly need them the week after, and we may need them a few days after that, what you need to do then is leave the end date blank if you're not 100% sure that the end date is going to be the end date, and then the candidate remains on the timesheet until one of two things actually happen: that either you go in and terminate them off the roll yourself, or nothing happens to them for 6 weeks, in which case the system's intelligent enough to think, well, clearly that candidate's no longer working there, so what we'll do is we'll automatically get them off the roll to keep the timesheet nice and tidy. So that's as simple as it is to find a job and assign a candidate to a job role, and all you do is finish off by saving and closing, or save and add another candidate to exactly the same role. Let's just go through the timetable so you understand how this then works on the system. Is a candidate will come into your agency now and basically say, well, can you find me some work? Or you'll have a candidate on your books that the client actually requires, and the candidate then goes and works away on site in week 2. So having then Monday through to Sunday completed that week, it's that following week where the site supervisor will go in and add the hours and then approve the timesheet, and typically that is a Monday. It does vary by client, and the support website has a page for every client that we deal with, and in there it will show you the timetable particular to that particular client, and then as a result of that, payments are then made to you, the agency. So AWR, if you click on AWR, it brings up a list of all of your candidates with the dates that they've been working, and again you can sort of these into any particular column order, but basically the AWR column will show you how close any candidate is going to the AWR role, and basically when a candidate reaches that point, then they'll be unassigned off the role, and then you'll need to reassign them to the applicable AWR role as relevant. Let's just show you then timesheets. So basically you can click on timesheets at any particular point in time, select your client and the branch, and what appears then is the timesheet showing your candidates, and again you only see your own candidates, nobody else's. So it'll confirm, for example, each candidate will show a line, and it will show the name, week ending date, the role they're working at, and the hours that have been added in by the client. It'll then show you any bonuses and expenses that may have been accrued. Notes, it'll add notes in there as well to show you if there's any notes relevant to your particular candidate. And some clients are using the candidate rating system that we have, and we operate candidate rating system from 1 star up to 5 star, and the most important thing here is to see a tick then in this approved column, because that then shows that that line has then been approved, and when it then goes through for invoicing, you'll see a tick in the invoice column as well. And you can go in and look at this at any particular point in time. Okay, historical timesheet. So basically, where you've got a candidate that has been working on site for a couple of weeks, is how do we actually manage that process? Well, basically what you can do is add up to 4 weeks of historical timesheets for your candidates. If you require any more than 4 weeks previous, then just email support@247time.co.uk and we can get those issued for you. So let's show you how you do that. So first and foremost is you click on candidates and you select your candidate from the list, and you'll see at the bottom the roles that the candidate has been assigned to. So what you then do is you select the role that the candidate has been assigned to, and that's in blue, and it comes up with details of the job. So you click on assigned candidates, and then you can see the role that the candidate's working, and you just click on add historic timesheet, and this then comes up with a calendar option. So you can click on calendar and click on the Sunday to add a particular date in, or just type in the date here and do that as many times as you need, up to 4 times. Then click on add, and what happens then in the timesheet is there is a line then placed in pink. So the approver will go in and approve and add the hours in for the current week where applicable, but equally go in and add the hours and approve any other historical timesheet as well. And we show its historical timesheet by showing here in pink. The approvers can also go in and adjust hours. If, for example, a candidate comes to you and says, well, look, you know, my hours are wrong, I've been paid incorrectly for some days, how do you rectify that? Well, basically the approver could go in and click on adjust hours, and as you can see here, if a candidate had worked 10 hours and should have only been paid for 8, then they'll put -2, and it will reduce the next pay by 2 hours to you, the agency. If the candidate has been paid for 10 hours and should have been paid for 12, then they'll put 2 in the yellow box here, the line, and that will then add 2 hours to the pay. And as you can see here, where a candidate has been assigned to a job role but no hours were placed in that particular job role, then basically all they need to do is then add in the hours and click on save, and they would go in and approve that as they would do normally. And again, when we do that consolidation process, the next payment run should see all those adjustments being made accordingly. Okay, so let's have a look then, once we've done that consolidation process, how do we find out about weekly trading? So the way to do that is to click on invoices, and for every client that you deal with, there will be a line for each week, and that line contains 2 pieces of information. The first is a PDF invoice, so if you click on that, it downloads to your device a PDF invoice that is generated by the system. So 247Time is a self-billing system, so you don't invoice the client anymore. The system does this for you on your behalf. You may need to still do your own back office account system, but when that invoice then spits off from your account system, you don't fold it up and send it out to the client anymore. The system here has done that for you on your behalf, and it shows a net amount, and it shows VAT and a gross amount, and that could be for tens of thousands of pounds. So obviously what you want to do then is understand how that bill is constructed, so that invoice. So what you do is you click on data file, and what downloads then is a CSV file that contains every piece of information required in order for you to be able to reconcile that to the penny. And this information is available to you normally the morning after we run the consolidation process, but importantly it's available to you there on in any time you actually need it. And what we recommend that you do is, after consolidation, is just go into the system and have a look at it and just make sure that it matches your expectations in terms of what you feel that you should be receiving, because as we all know, it's easy to do things when they're fresh in your mind rather than 6 months hence. And by the way, this information is available to you 6 months or a year later. If you need to go back and look at a particular week, then you can download this information as well. It's what we see and it's what the clients see as well. So just a couple of things here now on the issues and cures that we have that we tend to find. And obviously it's about, why am I not getting paid? Well, first and foremost, three main reasons is that the candidate documentation may not be complete. And again, this I guess evolves really where other documentation is required, because typically for industrial or private users it is just the bare minimum that is required. But it's important as well that you do assign your candidate to a job role, and the right job role, otherwise the approvers won't see your candidate on their timesheet. And again, it could be that some timesheet information has not been completed correctly. Those three things, could result in delay in payments. So what happens if you have a query? Well, a number of things to do. First and foremost is we recommend that you go into the website and have a look at the guides that we produce there within the website, and just familiarize yourself with what's going on in terms of the process and see if there's anything there that leaps out at you. Following that, look at your candidate's journey all the way through the system. So look at their profile, have a look at the job that you've assigned them to, have a look at the timesheet information. Is there anything there that leaps out at you that think that hasn't been done? And if that's the case, that you still have a query, is email 247time at support, and then what we'll do is we'll intercede on your behalf and establish what the query is and get some resolution to you. That's it really in terms of processing industrial and private clients.